In the bustling town of Willow Creek, there lived an old man named Benjamin Davis. With his silver hair and sharp blue eyes, he commanded respect, yet an air of arrogance surrounded him. Benjamin was wealthy, owning the largest house in town, along with a shiny silver Mercedes that gleamed under the sun. He enjoyed showing off what he had, and he often looked down on those who had less. Although people respected him, they also whispered about his rudeness and how he rarely had a kind word for anyone. One scorching summer afternoon, as Benjamin zoomed through the winding roads of Willow Creek, he felt a sudden thud, followed by an unsettling bounce. "Great," he muttered, pulling over to the side of the road. He stepped out of his Mercedes to find a flat tire. Frustration welled up inside him as he grumbled, "Of course, this would happen to me." He had always assumed that he could control everything in his life, but now he was stranded, feeling helpless. He bent down to examine the tire but quickly became more irritated when he realized he had left his tools back home. His phone buzzed in his pocket, but when he pulled it out, he saw there was no signal. "Just perfect," he exclaimed, glaring at the clear blue sky. He started wrestling with the tire, trying everything he could to unscrew the bolts, but it was futile. His attempts only made him angrier. Just then, a figure appeared, a scruffy 13-year-old boy named Elijah. He had a friendly, sun-kissed face and wore a faded cap, along with baggy shorts and sneakers that had seen better days. When Elijah noticed the older man struggling, he stopped, intrigued. "Need help, sir?" he asked, his tone cheerful and energetic. Benjamin raised an eyebrow. "Do you think you can help me?" he scoffed, still prideful. "You're just a kid." "Actually, I've changed tires before," Elijah replied, determination shining in his eyes. Without waiting for Benjamin's approval, the young boy knelt down beside the car. "My grandpa taught me how to do this," he insisted, his hands already reaching for the tire wrench. Benjamin watched skeptically, unsure of what this kid could do. But as Elijah skillfully changed the tire, Benjamin felt his annoyance begin to fade, replaced by a sense of curiosity. "How did you learn to do that?" he eventually asked, trying to hide his growing admiration. Elijah flashed a proud smile. "I just like helping people," he said simply, tightening the last bolt before standing up. Benjamin couldn't help but feel a wave of gratitude wash over him. "Thank you," he finally said, his voice softening. "I appreciate it." Elijah nodded, beaming at the compliment before walking away, leaving Benjamin to reflect on the encounter. Elijah's kindness lingered in Benjamin's mind long after the boy had left. It was a feeling he hadn't experienced in years, and he found himself thinking about how distant he had always kept himself from others. A glimmer of guilt tugged at him for how he had treated people in the past. He decided that he wanted to do something nice for Elijah and his family, so he set out to find them. As luck would have it, the information came easily. After asking around the neighborhood, he learned that Elijah lived with his mother, Maria, in a small and unassuming home on the other side of town. Feeling a little anxious, Benjamin hopped back into his Mercedes and drove over. The closer he got, the more he noticed the stark contrast between his elaborate mansion and the modest houses around him, their peeling paint and unkempt lawns telling a story of hardship. When Benjamin knocked on the door, he was greeted by Maria. She was surprised to see him standing there, dressed impeccably as always. "Can I help you?" she asked, a mix of curiosity and caution in her voice. "I'm looking for Elijah," he said. The warmth of the invitation came next, and she allowed him to step inside. Elijah appeared at the sound of his name, amazed to see Mr. Davis in their home. "Mr. Davis, what brings you here?" the boy asked, his eyes wide. "I came to thank you for helping me with the tire," Benjamin said, trying to sound more casual than he felt. "You did a great job." "Thanks," Elijah replied. The young boy's enthusiasm was contagious. "But you didn't have to come here to say that. I just like helping." Benjamin felt an odd tug in his chest. "Well, I'd like to help you and your mom out, if that's okay," he offered, knowing that they could use some support. Maria frowned slightly. "We can manage, thank you. We don't need any charity," she replied firmly, her pride evident. "I understand," Benjamin said, striving to make his offer feel genuine. "But I want to give back to the town, maybe even help a family like yours." Days turned into weeks, and Benjamin couldn't shake the feeling that he needed to support Elijah and his mother. He started bringing them food and clothes, little by little. At first, Maria was reluctant to accept, but as time went on, she recognized his sincere intentions. One weekend, Benjamin decided it was time to give more. He showed up with friends to help renovate their little house. They painted the walls a sunny yellow, repaired the roof, and transformed the small yard into a beautiful garden. Elijah watched the whole process, joy filling his heart. He felt like a king, living in a castle that had been built by love and kindness. The transformation of the house meant so much more than just paint and repair. It brought Benjamin and Elijah closer. They shared stories during breaks and finished the project with enormous satisfaction. Elijah learned new skills, while Benjamin was reminded that happiness didn't stem from wealth but from connection and friendship. As they worked together, a remarkable revelation struck Benjamin like a bolt of lightning. A nearby rumor was spreading around Willow Creek about a buried treasure from the days of bootlegging. The whispers of the townsfolk ignited excitement among the younger generation. Elijah's eyes sparkled at the thought of the treasure hunt. "If we find it," he exclaimed, "we could help the community." "Exactly," Benjamin replied, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "Let's go on an adventure." They gathered old maps, research materials, and stories of the town's history. Fascination enveloped them as they traced clues leading to various locations across Willow Creek, diving deep into the past to learn about the mysterious bootleggers who once roamed the area. But as they dug deeper, they soon found themselves at odds with a man named Roger. Roger was also on the hunt for the treasure and was fueled by a greedy determination to claim it for himself. He started spreading rumors about Benjamin, claiming he was only helping Elijah to get his hands on the treasure first. The whispers began to grow, stirring tension in the community. One cool evening, while Benjamin and Elijah were gathered in front of the town library reviewing their clues, Roger stormed up to them, his demeanor aggressive. "You think you can just find treasure before I do? You're wasting your time," he shouted, fists clenched. Elijah stood tall next to Benjamin, not backing down. "We're not doing this for ourselves. We want to do something good for the town," he exclaimed, passionate and defiant. Benjamin straightened his back. "Yes. This isn't about riches. We want to honor our community," he said firmly. The tension crackled in the air, but Roger, seeing he was outnumbered, stomped off, glaring back at them. Despite the threats from Roger, Benjamin and Elijah didn't waver. They continued digging for clues, learning more about the town's history, and they uncovered fascinating stories along the way. One day, while exploring an old abandoned recording studio, they stumbled upon a rusted box buried in the ground. Benjamin's heart raced as they pried open the box to reveal letters, coins, and a faded treasure map leading to even more locations. As they sifted through the letters, they realized that the treasure was not just material wealth but a collection of memories and stories, a treasure trove of kindness shared between families who had supported one another throughout the years. Inspired, they decided to share their findings with the town. Months passed, and with every piece of history they uncovered, they felt an even greater connection to the heart of Willow Creek. They crafted a presentation for the townsfolk, inviting everyone to gather. As Benjamin and Elijah stood before the community, the room held a palpable mix of excitement and curiosity. "Instead of fighting for treasure, let's celebrate the kindness and support that has kept us together," Benjamin proposed, his heart swelling with pride. "Together, we can better our town." The townsfolk listened eagerly, their worries about Roger fading as they began to see the bigger picture. Inspired by their passion, the community came together to establish the Willow Creek Community Fund, aimed at helping families in need and supporting local projects. As the months rolled on, Benjamin blossomed into a beloved member of the community. He helped raise funds, organize events, and mentor Elijah, who was thriving in school and filled with dreams for the future. The friendship between the two grew stronger, and they enjoyed each other's company more than ever. During a lively community festival, Benjamin stood on the sidelines, watching as Elijah entertained a group of children. The old man felt an indescribable joy swell inside him. The boy who had once changed his tire had become a significant part of his life. It filled him with warmth to know he had helped someone else, and, in turn, had found himself in the process. Years later, Benjamin and Elijah stood before the new community center that had been erected in honor of their friendship. It was a place for everyone to gather, learn, and grow. As the crowd awaited their speeches, Benjamin looked over at Elijah with immense pride. All of this began with a simple act of kindness, he said, his voice filled with emotion. Yeah, Elijah added, a grin spreading across his face. Who knew a flat tire would lead to this? The crowd erupted in laughter and applause. As the years carried on, Benjamin and Elijah worked side by side, making it their mission to help others. They turned the community center into a hub of hope, where people could find assistance during difficult times, and children could learn and dream. The spirit of kindness thrived, filling the town with joy, laughter, and happiness. One sunny afternoon, as they watched children playing in the nearby park, Elijah turned to Benjamin. Thank you for everything, he said sincerely. You've changed my world. And you've changed mine, Benjamin replied, a smile illuminating his face. Together, we've built something extraordinary. From that day on, their story, filled with the beauty of friendship, generosity, and transformation, became a beloved legend in Willow Creek. It reminded everyone that a single act of kindness could ripple through time, creating a legacy that would endure for generations to come.